Welcome into the Campfire. I'm Ashley Bullington, and thank you for joining us. This week we'll be breaking down District 22 6A. Wow, we only have a few districts left before season starts. Oh my goodness, these are the teams that you'll be seeing in District 22 6A after realignment.
Channelview, Deer Park, Pasadena, Dobie, Memorial, Sam Rayburn, and South Houston.
And though I'm not going to give you who I think will take the district crown, you can tell us who you think it'll be. Go to our Twitter account, it's at IHSS Houston, and vote for who you think will take the district title. Now, we have a quick trivia question for you.
What image did Sam Rayburn High School originally use for their mascot before a copyright infringement claim? A. Chuck Norris, B. Big Tex, C. Davy Crockett, or D. Yosemite Sam?
Well, seeing as I did this trivia question, I know what the answer is, but do you? Go anywhere that you can find the Campfire and let us know. We have it Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and YouTube. And leave a comment with what you believe the right answer to this trivia question is. Also, if you're a podcast person, you're in luck. The Campfire comes in podcast form. Go to Apple Podcasts or Spotify, and you can find our entire catalog of Inside High School Sports podcast. Now it's time for the film session, presented by your local Geico offices in Cypress, Katy, Spring, and Pearland.
District 22 6A is a 17 district featuring 5 Pasadena ISD schools along with Channelview and Deer Park. Deer Park and Dobie are the only 2 teams that reached the playoffs a year ago, so this district could be wide open in 2020. Deer Park went 7-4 last year and finished in 3rd place in the very challenging District 21 6A. Now, the Deer assume the role of favorites under guidance of 3rd-year head coach and Deer Park alum Austin Flynn. Channelview is coming off back-to-back 4-win seasons, but the Falcons have reached the postseason 4 of the last 6 years. Quarterback Demetrius Charles impressed as a sophomore last fall, and if he continues to improve, the Falcons will have a good chance to get back to the playoffs. Dobie appears to be the top dog among Pasadena ISD schools. The Longhorns went 9-2 last season, with the only losses coming to perennial powers Atascocita and North Shore. Dobie's defense allowed just 6 points per game in the Longhorns' 7 district wins, including 4 shutouts. With district newcomer of the year Cameron Gray back to lead the offense, Dobie looks like a strong contender once again in 2020. Pasadena Memorial is 2 years removed from its last postseason trip, but the Mavericks have been solid, finishing near the middle of the pack in league play. Memorial returns 3 all-district performers that should have the Mavs in the playoff hunt this fall. Sam Houston won 6 games in 2018, but slipped back to 3-7 last year. The Trojans are looking for a bounce-back campaign in 2020. As are Pasadena Rayburn and Pasadena High, who combined to win just 1 game last fall.
And those special teams need special players. We take a look at a few from District 22 6A and our players on the rise, presented by Grimaldi's Pizzeria.
Channelview's sophomore sensation Demetrius Charles took the helm in the 2019 season. The Falcon had 1,056 passing yards and 15 passing touchdowns. He had another 3 rushing touchdowns in his first season as a Falcon signal caller. Look for this Falcon to rise to the occasion in the 2020 season. Matthew Potts was named Deer Park signal caller in the 2019 season. He is a 2-sport athlete for the Deer, playing baseball and football. As Deer Park's quarterback, he led his team to a 5-2 district record and a 7-5 overall record, including a first-round playoff appearance. Catch him trying to win the Deer a 22 6A title in the upcoming season. Another sophomore that came on the scene in 2019 is Dobie's quarterback, Cameron Gray. Gray led Dobie to a 9-2 record last season, competing for a district title. Dobie's only 2 losses came to defending state champion North Shore and powerhouse Atascocita. Gray was named the 22 6A Newcomer of the Year in 2019. Pasadena Memorial running back Tylen Bennett will be a big piece of the offensive scheme for the Mavericks in the coming season. 2019 was tough on Pasadena Memorial, but they looked to turn it around in 2020. Bennett was named second-team All-District last season. 22-6A will be filled with junior sensations in the 2020 season, including South Houston running back Ja'Cory Johnson. South Houston had a tough go-about in 2019, but are looking to turn things around this year. Look for Johnson to be a big part of an offense that will utilize his speed.
And those athletes have achieved great things on the gridiron. But do you know somebody from the high school sports scene accomplishing great things in your community? A player, coach, or team going that extra mile? Nominate them for a Chevy Spotlight. To nominate, go to IHSSChevySpotlight.com and stay tuned to our social media accounts to see if your nomination is highlighted. Now it's time for our Media Day segment. We talk to coaches about their teams and the district they'll be seeing for the 2020 season.
Hey there, everyone. I have the head coach of Pasadena Dobie, Kevin Bernithi, on with me. Coach Bernithi, how is it going?
Well, just still trying to find a couple games and, just trying to keep, our kids safe and all that type of stuff, and our coaches safe. And we're starting our summer strength stuff back up on Monday, so we're excited about that. Looking forward to the season.
And last season, you had a team that went 9-2. The only two losses came to Atascocita and North Shore, but quite the season from Pasadena Dobie. Can you talk about that 2019 year that your team put together?
There's we had a lot of good kids, a lot of good players. Our coaches worked hard on it. We got lucky. We stayed pretty healthy. We played a sophomore quarterback that grew up throughout the year and got better every week, and I think our team got better every week. It just showed our work. It was exciting. It was a big thing for our school. It was the first time in about 20 years the school's won 9 games. So we're excited to move forward. We're really looking forward to this year. We thought we could build on that. Hopefully with the COVID stuff and stuff like that, our kids have seemed to manage it well. So we'll see where we go from here.
And you talked about it, but you have quite the quarterback in Cameron Gray, who will be a junior this coming season. Can you talk about how he really developed as a leader on your team and really became, a better quarterback throughout the season? We saw him literally grow from game 1 to game 11.
All Cam knows is work. So, he's definitely somebody you see work all the time. He's not going to shy away from anything. He's going to let his voice be known when he sees things not going the way it should be going. And our team responds to him and his energy. He's always brings energy every day. He always seems to be in a good mood. And, he doesn't settle for, mediocrity. He wants to be a great player. It's obvious. He's an AB student in the classroom. So, we talk about how you do anything is how you do everything around here. And, he's just a guy that lives up to that mantra in our team.
And in 2020 with realignment, you are in 22-6A, and it's a little different as you don't have Atascocita anymore. So it's
right.
Pasadena schools, as well as Channelview and Deer Park. Can you talk about the competition that you have coming up in this 22-6A district?
I've competed against Deer Park for a lot of years. They're tough kids. They work hard. They play hard. They're strong. They're going to be a tough team to play. Coach Flynn does a good job over there. Channelview, I've coached against them in my past. They're athletic. They know how to score points. You're going to have to keep up with their offense. It's going to be a challenge for sure. And then the other schools that we played against the past couple of years. 2 years ago, we played to the wire against South Houston. They're very capable of coming up and beating them. Earlier this past year, they came out firing, and we were down against them. And they have some kids that can play. Memorial, I think, will be better than last year, and it's not going to be easy for any means. People I get the call, well, you're not in the Humble District anymore, you're this and that. But I mean, football, I've been a part of football way too long to understand that it's never going to be easy. So we're just going to go work and keep working and, see what happens.
Coach, thanks for joining us here on the Campfire and giving us your insight into District 22 6A. We'll be right back after a couple messages from our sponsors.
Chevrolet Inside High School Sports is brought to you by your Houston area Chevy dealers. Visit your nearest dealer to test drive our award-winning products. The film session is presented by your local Geico offices in Cypress, Katy, Spring, and Pearland. To get more information or a quote, go to geico.com/Houston. The Players on the Rise is presented by Grimaldi's Coal Brick Oven Pizzeria. Grimaldi's Pizzeria is open for dine-in, carry-out, and delivery. Visit grimaldispizzeria.com.
Welcome back to the Campfire. It's time now for the district breakdown. We welcome in Inside High School Sports insider Matt Harris to break down District 22 6A more in depth. Matt?
Thanks, Ashley. This week, we're covering District 22 6A, and every team will get a little boost from the departure of Atascocita over to District 21. Atascocita beat every team in this year's 22 6A by at least 47 points last season, which means this district could be wide open this year. We'll start with my favorite to win the district in Pasadena Dobie. The Longhorns had a fantastic season, finishing 9-2 with the losses coming to two of the best teams in the entire state, Atascocita in district play and North Shore in round one of the playoffs. Dobie returns loads of talent from last year's squad with a total of 13 returning starters, including quarterback Cameron Gray, who threw for more than 900 yards and ran for another 400 in Dobie's run-heavy offense. He'll have his top target back as well in do-everything receiver Jeremiah Ballard, whose production figures to increase now that Gray is adjusted to varsity play. Last season was Gray's first as a starter as just a sophomore. Alex Garcia and Jonathan Baldwin returned to lead a defense that held every opponent not named North Shore or Atascocita under 30 points last season. Expect Dobie to be in the mix for a district title, certainly, and perhaps the favorite to win it as well. I see one other team as a legitimate threat to Dobie's district title chances, and that would be the Deer Park Deer. They too returned 13 starters, including quarterback Matt Potts, who threw for nearly 2,000 yards last season. Running back Dylan Madden returns next to Potts in the backfield as well, and those two will operate behind an offensive line that returns all 5 starters. That's quite the haul. In addition to that, Zach Frazee and Garrett Bedford returned to lead a seasoned defense that was tested weekly in a tough district last season. The Deer will need to replace talent at wide receiver, but they figured to be pretty good once again. I think the final 2 playoff spots behind Dobie and Deer Park will be a 3-way foot race, and I'll start with Pasadena Memorial, yet another team that returns 13 starters. Memorial just missed out on the playoffs a season ago with a 4-6 record, but I think they'll be squarely in the mix in 2020. Also like Dobie and Deer Park, Memorial will return its starting quarterback in Luke Giron, who threw for nearly 1,000 yards despite only starting 6 games last year. Xavier Lerma returns as well next to Giron in the backfield, and that duo will work behind a good offensive line led by Ivan Robles. The Mavericks defense returns more starters than nearly any other unit in the district with 8. Colby Taylor leads that unit after racking up 4 interceptions and more than 70 tackles last season. I don't know exactly where they'll fall, but I think Memorial wraps up a playoff spot this season. That leaves Channelview and South Houston as the 2 other teams I think will be in contention for a playoff spot, and I'll start with Channelview. The Falcons don't return 13 starters like the other 3, but they do return 11 starters, which isn't too shabby. The returning starters will be led by, you guessed it, a quarterback. Demetrius Charles had an excellent sophomore season, throwing for 1,300 yards and 20 scores, and he'll have some solid returning weapons outside with Charles Kirtley and Josiah Prince returning. The defense will be led by Sing-Q Marshall at linebacker, and I expect a solid season from Channelview after a 4-6 campaign last year. The final team I see in the playoff picture is South Houston. The Trojans have no shortage of weapons at wide receiver, but they're one of the only teams in the district who will have to figure out the quarterback position. Marquaylin Anthony and Kendarius White will lead the offense, and an experienced offensive line will help the quarterback transition. On defense, South Houston has playmakers at every level, including Jeffrey Gamboa on the line, Fidel Vizcaino at linebacker, and Kaquan Palm in the secondary. The Trojans will have returning playmakers and will absolutely be in the playoff conversation, but the other 4 squads all return an established quarterback, and that's the reason I have South Houston as my first team out. Pasadena continues the trend of 22 6A teams that return massive amounts of talent, with a whopping 15 returning starters. That's good numbers, but the Eagles haven't made the playoffs in 24 years, and it'll take some luck to break that streak. The Eagles will have a spot to fill at quarterback, which is never easy, but a strong offensive line and wide receiver Keeman Hayward hold some promise for the offense if a decent option can be found under center. The defense will be led by Jose Ruiz at linebacker, and that unit returns 10 of 11 starters, which is never a bad thing. I don't see Pasadena making the playoffs, but they could be a big surprise if a good quarterback is found. Lastly, we have Pasadena Rayburn. Like seemingly half the district, Rayburn too returns 13 starters. Unfortunately, those starters haven't won a game yet, as Rayburn is on a 3-year winless streak. The 2020 seniors at Rayburn have seen their Texans go 0-30 in their time at school, but I think 2020 is the year Rayburn gets back in the win column. Returning quarterback Brian Aguirre is the biggest key. He's a 3-year starter, so he literally could not be more experienced. Aguirre has some solid weapons with Julian Falcon at running back and David Pena out wide, and that trio will operate behind an experienced offensive line. The defense employs Alexis Tellis and Jalen Samuels, which will help. I don't see Rayburn competing for a playoff spot, but 2020 could be the year the Texans get back on the board. I think they'll right the ship, and picking up 2 or 3 wins will be huge to build momentum for the future. That leaves me with my team and player to watch. First up, my team to watch is the Channelview Falcons. Channelview has a solid coach at the helm in Avarian Hertz and an envious amount of returning talent, though that could be said for most of the district if we're being honest. In any case, I like the Falcons to get back in the playoffs after missing out last season, but there will be challengers. The Falcons will need to win games against Memorial and South Houston to secure a spot. Look out for those games. My player to watch is Dobie quarterback Cameron Gray. The Longhorns have the tools necessary to win a district title, something that felt impossible in the past while sharing a district with state powerhouse Atascocita. Now with the Eagles gone, the reins are Dobie's to take, and they'll need Gray to have an outstanding year to fend off the competition. Gray accounted for 20 touchdowns last season with plenty of production through the air and on the ground. Now as a junior, I think those numbers will go up. Having a year's worth of varsity experience should mean Gray will know what to expect coming into this season. It'll be his first full varsity season without having to adjust to the skill level. Because of that, and everything on the line for Dobie this season, Cameron Gray is my player to watch. That's all I've got for 22 6A. Back to you, Ashley.
Matt, great insight as always. Thank you, and I'll see you next week. And thank you all for joining me around the campfire. That's all we have for this week's episode. Come back every Monday for a new show. Until then, though, follow our social accounts. We have Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and YouTube. That'll all be focusing on District 22 6A all week long. I'm Ashley Bullington, and I'll see you next time.